Alright guys, welcome back to another Lorcana Go video. This is round 3 of that cash tournament I recently played in. We're going to ink the Maui, the Gothel, the Minnie Mouse, mostly because I had doubles in our hand. We're going to draw a Maui and a Minnie Mouse. The reason we inked the Minnie Mouse was because our plan was to play the dock on turn 3 anyhow. This matchup is against Ruby Amethyst, and the person that I'm playing actually went on to win the tournament. I ended up in second. This is a good match, so I wanted to show it to you guys. On the first turn, I just inked and passed. He inked a Rafiki and played a Rafiki. Now I'm going to draw Wendy here. I'm going to ink the Wendy because she's real bad against Rafiki. And then I can just either play a Bare Necessities or play out the Gothel. I'm going to Bare Necessities. I want to see what's in his hand. I want to see what he's kind of running. And I also get a Queen's Castle here, which is pretty good. He doesn't have a Be Prepared, which is also some good information to be working with. And, yeah, I'm making a mental note. I may or may not be writing down what's in his hand. Actually, I don't think in real-life tournaments you're not allowed to write down what is in people's hands. I know in Magic you are allowed to do that. I suppose in Lorcana you're not. His hand was easy to remember though because of the multiples. Anyway, it's his turn now. He's gonna get some lore with Rafiki. Rafiki is really, really good. And he's going to ink the Cusco and play Cusco. We're going to ink Kita, which we just drew, and we're going to play the Minnie Mouse. We're not going to play the Dock because Dock just gets eaten by Rafiki. So that Rafiki successfully just sort of slows me down by a turn. Not the end of the world. He's going to quest for 2. He's going to ink the Rafiki. And then play a Merlin Crab. So it's looking like his deck is kind of the go wide of this purple-red deck. A bunch of little guys with the come into play mechanics. Merlin Crab is just another great card. He handles pretty much anything. You know, he turns your Cuscos and Rafikis into absolute killers. He's going to get in there for some more lore. And just like that, he's up 5-2. He was on the play, though. We are going to quest with Dock, or we're not. We don't really have to here, because we can ink a Dock and play a Maui. But we do get the lore. We're going to play the Maui. We can take out the Merlin Crab. And now we're going to ink the other Dock and pass the turn. Yeah, we don't need Dock anymore at this point. We're at our 5. We're at our 5 ink. We have a few cards that cost more than 5 ink, but they're mostly used as Mufasa targets. He's going to sing Friends on the Other Side. He's going to ink a Rafiki. And he's going to play a Maui. So I've played around Rafiki pretty well this game. He still has his turn 1 Rafiki in play, but he actually uses it to take out a Maui. So got a few lore and killed a Maui with it. Not bad for a 1-drop. We're going to draw Bare Necessities. I don't know how good of a cast set is here. As if he were to be prepared, I'd be pretty happy about it currently. We are behind, but we were on the draw. So the draw is a pretty significant advantage and disadvantage in this game. So he's got the Medusa to take out my Mufasa. This all depends on what we hit here. If we hit one of our big guys, life will be good. We unfortunately hit a Rapunzel, and we choose not to put it into play because next turn we can draw the Rapunzel. So when you don't choose to put it in play, it stays on top of your deck. So I draw the Rapunzel. I'm going to play the Mother Gothel. I'm going to ink the Bare Necessities, and then I'm going to play the Rapunzel. Almost never are you not going to put the character on top into play, because either you want it or you don't want to draw it. And this was like one of the very rare situations where not putting the character that you Mufasa'd into play was correct. So just remember that you can do that. You don't have to put it in play. If ever you're in one of those weird situations where you're like, hey, it's better if I leave that on top. So now he chooses to be prepared, and I'm not sure I like that. I think that's pretty lousy, because now the game is starting over and I'm first. And I go Mother Gothel into Rapunzel and I draw more cards. I don't know what was in his hand. You know, I don't know if he just had like double be prepared there or something. But he basically said, all right, let's start a new game. You go first. And yeah, sure. I accept those terms. Now he's going to play bosses on the roll, which is just a lore. He reorganizes the top 5 cards of his deck. Not stupendous. We're going to get in there with Rapunzel and Gothel. And I think we should play Minnie and Pongo here, because that creates lethal. But in fear that he has another Be Prepared, which was in my head, I thought the only way he would cast the Be Prepared at that point in the game was if he had another Be Prepared. So that's why I didn't play the Minnie and Pongo. I wanted to make sure that I got 2 cards from Stitch. Even though Minnie and Pongo would have been lethal. And it turns out he has Madame Medusa, so the Minnie, he would have killed he would have killed the Rapunzel anyway, and they wouldn't have been lethal. So I'm happy that I played Stitch there, and I got my cards. Now I'm going to Bare Necessities. He doesn't have the Be Prepared. The reason I played Bare Necessities was that I could play my Minnie and Pongo, or I could play the Lady Tremaine after the Bare Necessities. So it didn't really matter that I played it. I had the extra ink. I decided to play Lady Tremaine. Again, I could have played Minnie and Pongo to threaten lethal, but I knew that he had the Madame Medusa from the Bare Necessities. So I wanted to go with the save for the 2 lines. Take his guy off the board. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. I guess I could have muted my microphone, but you can hear me sneeze. I'm feeling a little under the weather today. Forgive me. All right, my opponent gives a well-played sign, and I feel we won a game that we shouldn't have won. I think his Be Prepared there was awful. I mean, he might have lost anyway if he didn't be prepared, but you don't want to be prepared and leave yourself in a position where you're behind, which is what he did. I mean, sometimes you have to, because it's like desperation. We're going to ink the Hades, Stitch, Maleficent, and Mufasa, mostly because they're all high ink cards or uninkable. Hades isn't a card you want in your starting hand, because he has no targets, obviously. So we ink those, we redraw, we get a couple Bare Necessities, Lady Tremaine, Maleficent. Not a great starting hand. And we're on the draw. So this is going to be a tough game for us to win. Anyway, back to his Be Prepared play. You don't want to be prepared and leave yourself in a position where you're going to be behind. So he was better off not be preparing the last game and maybe waiting for me to overcommit or overextend. I mean, I wouldn't have done that, but it would have been better to not play it than it was to play it there. And if he didn't play, he still might have lost. So he's going to quest with Rafiki. And he's got the Mim Snake to protect it and bounce it back to his hand. I'm going to draw the Minnie Mouse. We're going to ink one of our Bare Necessities. We have 3 of them. We're going to play the other Bare Necessities, and we're going to whiff. So this game went from bad to worse. We just lose a card for nothing. I mean, we get to see his hand, but that's an expensive way to see a hand. I'd much rather play that blue card where I can see the hand and draw a card, and it only costs 1. So like I said, this was going to be a hard game to win anyway with our starting hand on the draw. And now after whiffing with Bare Necessities, it just got a whole lot worse. He's going to play the Minnie Mouse. And now next turn, I think I'm left with no choice but to ink the Bare Necessities, or now the Kita that I drew. I think that's the better ink at this point. And to play the Dock, we decided to play the Mini. I think we really needed to play the Dock there and rush into Mufasa and hope to hit a big one off of his triggered ability. Instead, we went with Minnie Mouse, which I don't think is right because he plays Merlin Crab. So his Minnie Mouse is a lot better than our Minnie Mouse. Like, he can play Crab next turn and just kill our Minnie Mouse. I don't know if he does that. This game, I played this game a few days ago. But looking back, the Dock was the play last turn. We could have swung in with the Dock. We would have lost it, but we could have got our Mufasa out there faster. I should still play the Dock here because now I can get a Tremaine. But Lady Tremaine's junk in this matchup because he plays Merlin Rabbit. So when I eventually Tremaine, he's going to... And I don't ink there, which I think is fine. But he plays the Queen's Castle. And I don't know if he just drew that. But maybe playing the Bare Necessities with Minnie Mouse would have been better last turn. Or just inking it. I'm not sure what I was thinking at the time. Other than, oh, I'm boned here. I was probably a little tilted from whiffing with the Bare Necessities in the beginning of the game. You shouldn't do that because you can win games that you think aren't winnable. I was also probably tilted he played the rabbit when I had two Tremaines in my hand. Needless to say, this game is big trouble. But we did win game one on the draw, so if you can win 50% of your games on the draw, you're going to win a whole lot of matches. A whole lot of matches. So get good on the draw in best of three. And I think best of three is a way better format than best of two. I hope best of two doesn't catch on. It's just absolutely miserable in tournaments that don't have a lot of entries. Like if you're playing like a 3, 4, 5 round tournament and it's best of two, the end results end up real wonky. There's just so many draws. There's so many draws. And then you have like 4th through 11th place all have the same record. They're like 1-0-4 or 1-0-3. It's like, man, I really think it was a blunder for them to switch over to the best of two format or the two game match format, whatever they want to call it. I understand why they're doing it. They're doing it for large tournaments, but for some reason these tournament organizers are thinking that they should do it as well for their like 16-man tournaments, and it's just absolutely crazy. Anyway, we're going to ink the Rapunzel, even though Rapunzel's very good. We have 3 of them. We don't need 3 of them. I think a lot of people would ink 2 Rapunzels here, but I'm actually going to keep 2 Rapunzels because Rapunzel is just the best card in my deck. It's the best card in Amber, and it is one of the best cards in the game. It is probably either Rapunzel or Maui is the best character overall in the game, I think. Maui's probably the best character in the game, as crazy as that is, but Rapunzel is debatably the best character in the game, and certainly top 3. Anyway, we just ink the first turn. He plays Rafiki. We draw another Rapunzel, which I'm not even mad about, because he can't do anything about my turn 2 Gothel. So I can just play Gothel and let it sit there. Some people are playing that purple action now that will actually tap your character and give one of your guys' challengers +3, which I think is actually a good addition to this deck. But his deck, from what we saw in the first 2 games, can't do anything about me just open playing a Mother Gothel and leaving it there. So that's what we did on our second turn, and it certainly was the right play. So now we're going to get off one of our Rapunzels next turn. And the question is, do we ink one of our Rapunzels? So he has a Teeth and Ambitions. Oops, big surprise. We never saw that card in 2 matches with multiple bare necessities, and he never played one. So it is what it is. I guess he has that card. Maybe it's a 1 of. Maybe it's a 2 of, and he just never saw it. But had we played the Mother Gothel on turn 3, it still would have been Teeth and Ambition anyway. So our playing on turn 2 is still correct. It just sucks that he actually has that card in his deck, and we never saw it in the first 2 games after 2 bare necessities. But we're still fine here. Like, look at the boards. Like, everything is good. We're just gonna play out a Rapunzel, and we're gonna make him have to do something. And if he decides to quest with Mim Snake here, we actually get to attack it with Rapunzel and then heal our Rapunzel and draw 3 cards. So all is not lost. Everything is fine. We have the power of the evasives, and now here we can we could have played Maui and just gotten in for 2 more with Rapunzel, but we really, really want we really, really want to draw 3 cards, because purple Amethyst Ruby can really clear characters off the board. They can really draw cards, and they can push the game. They can extend games. And so I didn't want to depend just on like a pure race. If I killed his snake with Maui, then he's going to kill my Maui with Maleficent, and he may not leave me any more opportunities to draw cards off of Rapunzel. So there's a Madame Medusa. There goes my Pongo. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. So, all right, we draw a Maleficent. Our Kita should probably kill the goat here. I like just trading out the Kita for the goat. We're going to get rid of our Maleficent. And that's what we do. So if he has Be Prepared in his hand, it's way better to do that than it is to just get the thing. Plus, Our Lady Tremaine, he would have sacrificed his goat, I believe. So now it forces him to sacrifice something other than the goat. And the way he is playing this turn makes you think he does have Be Prepared. But that's fine. We're ahead again, right? We're up on cards. We are playing first here, and we have more lore. So he's going to need a second Be Prepared, really, to stay in this game. He does have the second Be Prepared. That's unfortunate. Statistically, he shouldn't have 2 Be Prepareds there, but we're still in this position like, all right, if you have the third Be Prepared in your top 15 cards, then I guess you're just the man. But it was unlikely to have 2 Be Prepareds. He's very unlikely to have 3 Be Prepareds. So we're just going to play it out. He's got a Tremaine. We're going to kill the Doc. And the good thing here is we're just drawing creatures off the top, characters, every turn with this deck. So I'm still ahead here. I'm still ahead. We're going to get him a Pongo. We're just going to play Rapunzel. And that's our 4th Rapunzel. And we're just going to pass the turn. He really needs another Be Prepared. That is not a Be Prepared. He sings a boss is on the roll. I think he should probably I mean, he won the tournament. But I don't think the boss is on a roll is a good card. I think it's a good card. I don't think it's a good card here. And so he has no... It was just... Even with the 2 Be Prepareds, he just still couldn't catch up. And that is the game. And like I said, I finished second. He went on to finish first. We both finished with the same record. He just had slightly better tiebreakers. And that's just how tournaments work.